hot now for real. Yeah, I mean, hey, there's always room for baseball knowledge.
Yeah, I miss baseball. Did you see Ricky Henderson passed away? I didn't see.
So sad.
Heart attack or natural causes.
I must respect him so much that my brain went to make a joke about stealing or fast, and I just couldn't.
Yeah, it was so much fun at the end of his career when he was with the Mariners. It was just like 1 year, or I think he had 2 stints with them for like partial seasons.
Well, when I think of the Mariners, I think of you, Raul Ibanez, and Ken Griffey Jr. And of course,
and I want to know if we got back in this return.
Don't forget Alvin Davis, Mr. Mariner himself. Let's go. All right, Stokastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you on a Saturday. We've got a little NBA, some NBA action. We've got a little MLB trade. So Matt Belman is frantically searching to see what's happening because Josh Naylor, the Naylor brothers, have been potentially split up here for the Cleveland Guardians. So multi-sport show. We've got college football going on right now. College basketball is going on. We also have NFL. So we are all over the place. Matt, only one game at 7 tonight. That is going to be helpful because it is a battle for Miami. So I think I'm just going to leave players off from that game and be able to handle all the rest of the news that we have coming in. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Dr. EMac. Better now, as always, that I'm here with you. Yeah, Josh Naylor getting traded, big news in my world, as we're all, me, you, and Mike, big baseball fans. So, yeah, never love to see it. Got traded for Slade Ciccone and a draft pick. Yay. I mean, they weren't going to sign Naylor. He's only signed for next year, but he's still a big part of their lineup, and they didn't get much for him. I digress. We're here to talk some NBA. So we got news all over as typical in NBA. Crazy that it's like an 11-game slate, and the contests are pretty small tonight.
The contests have been all over the place these days. I don't know what's going on. The secret site suspended their leagues for this period. It was intentional, but so we do a bunch of season-long leagues. You can join them, then you have to do a DFS lineup every day. From like the 13th to the 23rd, they didn't have them. I'm like, well, that's weird. Now, I know part of it was probably because of the NBA Cup, but that shouldn't have mattered outside of one game. So it's like,
I was
kill
thinking
your product.
Today probably for the college football playoffs and then the NFL. Maybe they just figured they wouldn't have the...
Yeah, but the other 10 days, that seemed kind of weird, and they're bringing it back on Monday just in time for Christmas. So, I don't know. Neither here nor there. They still have their regular contest. I just thought that was a surprise. Because I had to get my Yahoo in early. That's all I've got for Yahoo today. So, if you're playing on the secret site, sorry. The key injuries we have, Jimmy Butler left early yesterday with an illness. I think he's sick of playing for Miami. He is out tonight with the same affliction. Kevin Love is out, personal/rest. And then Gary Harris is out, and then game time decision. So I guess that's the one thing we're waiting on here is Jalen Suggs. So that will be important. Are there good plays in this game? Yeah, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, but we've got a couple reasonably solid defensive teams here, 205 implied point total. So I think I'm totally comfortable just leaving this one off the board. That buys us a little more time. Game number 2, we did get the news there because there's 2 7:30 games. One of them is going to be Atlanta and Memphis. So we found out earlier today that Ja Morant was ruled out. That was expected. Trae Young is out as well, dealing with the sore heel. He was questionable, but we got that news probably about 20 minutes ago or so. Onyeka Okongwu is out. Jay Huff is out. That makes a little bit of a difference because Zach Edey came back. And then Marcus Smart, game time decision. He missed the last game. So we'll have to see what's happening with him. And then we get into Brooklyn, pretty much just the flotsam and jetsam. Obviously, no more I was going to say no more Dorian Finney-Smith. He's out today, but no more Dennis Schroeder, who is now with Golden State. You also have Cam Thomas, Trendon Watford, Zaire Williams are out for tonight. Keontae George is out. That's kind of a mess. Philly's on their back-to-back. Paul George, we don't know. We'll know it before the game, but he might rest in this one. Joel Embiid definitely is resting. Cleveland also played last night. They're going to give Max Strus a rest day here as well. And then Giannis played last night, ended up the Milwaukee Bucks lost to Cleveland. He is questionable today with back spasms. Damian Lillard ruled out. Milwaukee hosting the Wizards here. The Wizards, of course, are tanking, so we'll see what happens with that. And then we know Luka is out, Kyrie is in. That's important because Kyrie missed the last game. And then last but not least, Jaden Ivey is back in, which is important. We know Devin Booker is out. So about 5 pieces of news here, plus whatever the Saturday surprise is going to be, because there will be one. Matt, there will be one. Anything that you are waiting on that you think could upend things aside from Paul George, and even then that's nominal against Cleveland?
Giannis.
Oh, Giannis. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start off there, because last night he looked pretty good throughout the game. That one was kind of a lost cause there going into Cleveland. They were essentially double digit. No, they were like 5.5 or 6.5 point underdogs. Tonight, they're double-digit home favorites. Last night, he played 30.5 minutes. He ripped off, 21 field goal attempts, 33 points, 14 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals. He leads the league in scoring. The rest of his numbers are in line with his 2 MVP campaigns. A little higher, a little lower in there, but we get the point here, and we get the fantasy points for sure when he plays. So you what is your initial lean, in or out for?
Out, but I mean, they just won the NBA Cup. He played last night. He didn't get full run because they got routed by the Cavs, but he still played 30 minutes. Questionable today. I lean out, but I really have no idea. It sounds like you lean he's going to play.
I thought he would for sure. When he popped up on the injury report, that starts to sow seeds of doubt here. This is such an easy game. If this could be like a play a half and then be out kind of situation, or early rest. Going in the other direction, because the Wizards they're definitely trying to lose, but they have popped up here and there for wins. Remember, after that, they had that 16-game losing streak, but they upset somebody. I forget if it was Boston or Atlanta or something like that, and then they had one other decent win. But they're definitely tanking. They got to be careful about their wins, but this could be one I could see them somehow managing to get it there if it's just an S show up with the Bucks. So there we go. Let's start off with the guards here. Things get a little bit interesting tonight, Matt, because we have Kyrie going without Luka. So we know that in his last 1,439 minutes without Doncic on the court, he's averaging 1.4 fantasy points per minute. That is up from 1.2, which is what his standard average is throughout the season. And then when he and Doncic are on the court together, he only gets about 1 fantasy point per minute. So quite the disparity there. It's something that I think it really helps with him. He has over a 30% usage rate, obviously. He also has a 32.5% assist rate when Doncic is out. So that is key. The last time Doncic was out, he did have 60 fantasy points. Irving did, but he's kind of, he's lost a quarter step this year. It looks like he's not the same on-ball dominator that he was. How are you feeling about Kyrie Irving, and what else do you like at our point guards?
Yeah, always going to like Kyrie when Luka's out. His price tag still hasn't come up at all. So again, he hasn't been amazing with Luka out this year, but we've got enough sample size to know how good he is and how high his upside is. I don't love this matchup. Same matchup we saw the other day in Dallas with Kyrie was out. I think only really Dinwiddie got there. I was doing the show with Eric, and I talked about how I wouldn't be shocked if multiple guys from Dallas didn't get there. Klay Thompson was all right. Dinwiddie was really good, but other than that, I'm not sure anyone was good. Now with Kyrie back, though, he's good enough where the matchup doesn't really bother me. Hard not to like Kyrie in this spot at a, still pretty affordable $8,200 price tag. That said, this slate is wide open. There's a ton of really good plays on this slate, so I don't think anyone is a must as of right now.
No, and that's a good point. We just got news that Sam Hauser is going to be out. Boston is in Chicago. Boston favored by 12. That could be one of our Saturday surprises. You get Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Drew Holiday getting the night off. That could be in the cards there. So that qualifies as the Saturday surprise. But when we're looking at our guards here, it's kind of interesting how it shakes out. To me, it seems like guard value is there. Value is kind of everywhere around, but the pay up guys, it seems to be the front court, right? Victor Wembanyama, Giannis if he plays. Those are the routes we're going to go. We're going to talk about Kevin Durant as well. It just seems like the front court has some of the better options. So that has been, well, it's looming here because we're going to need to see what does in fact happen with these the rest of these guys coming in or out, because that's where the value goes. If we look kind of our value guy, we'll bookend this real quick, is going to be Scottie Pippen Jr. So he is DraftKings fell asleep at the switch with him, 3,600. FanDuel has him at 5,400. So he's kind of a neutral play, still solid, but a neutral-ish play, only because there are so many teams playing tonight in the player pool that Pippen is averaging about a fantasy point per minute when Morant is out. This season, Morant has missed 10 games or 11 games. Pippen started 10 of those. The first one, for whatever reason, he came in off the bench. But across these, he's averaging 27 minutes and 33 fantasy points. He has 3 times in this 11-game stretch he's gotten to 40 fantasy points, but only once has he crested over 42 fantasy points. So you're looking at him as a foundational play on FanDuel. DraftKings, heck yeah, 3,600, no issues with that whatsoever. But those are the guys you have on the either end of the ranges there. We look at Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland. Blowout risk. Plus, these guys are not playing a lot of minutes because they have just been slamming the door on everybody this season. So I'm blanking. Who's the coach in? It's Kenny Atkins, right? He has kind of been keeping his players under wraps, shall we say?
That's Cleveland's coach.
Yeah. Cleveland. Sorry, Winston. I did it. Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. They aren't getting the minutes in these games. So great through 3 quarters, putting the hammer down. But they're probably going to run Philadelphia out of the gym. But we need 4 quarters with the player pool like tonight. So it feels like we have some middling plays here. What is in the middle here for you? Because we got to find more than just an Irving and
yeah. Well, I think it breaks down pretty easily because you mentioned the Irving at the top, Pippen at the bottom. And right in the middle, a guy that the Sims likes and I like a lot, Dyson Daniels. No Trae Young. We know he can fill up the box score in a ton of different ways. He's going to have the ball in his hands even more here. Yeah, there's a lot to like from Atlanta, but Trae Young, or not Trae Young, but Dyson Daniels at 6,200, I think is a really good look.
That is one. Thank you. That escaped me. He was popping up on, I forget now, on one of the sites earlier today when we were still projecting Trae Young in. I think it was on FanDuel. I think it was 6,700 over there. And of course, now I've opened the projections twice instead of the ownership page. So we'll get that rectified here real quick. Fixed 11 minutes ago. So Dyson Daniels 6,700 on FanDuel. He's 33%. Bogdanovich is coming in as the top play at the moment on FanDuel. He is 4,900. So that's interesting. Got the shooting guard spot there. And then let's see, Dyson Daniels coming in at about 16% on DraftKings, but we're going to get enough value that you can start to look at some of these in the middle plays. There aren't the super duper stars, Matt, really aren't on this slate, right? Giannis, question mark. Wembanyama, Towns, we'll put him in that category. You got Tatum, potential blowout against Chicago, even though that game's on the road. Jaylen Johnson, maybe Kevin Durant. So all of a sudden we lose those guys that are going to baseline projections in the mid or upper 50s, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, if you will, the Luka Doncic's, Nikola Jokic, those folks are either they're hurt or not in our player pool today. So this is going to be kind of a fun one. The stars and scrubs, you don't want to miss out on some of these mid-tier players. And I think Dyson Daniels fits in that.
So on an 11-game slate, you're obviously going to have more good plays than on smaller slates, but this particular 11-game slate, there are so many good plays. Like there are guys that the third tier plays on this slate would be first tier plays on a lot of other slates. With Trae Young out, John Morant out in that game, I mean, that just boosts that game on a lot of 3, 4, 5-game slates. You couldn't get enough of that game. That might be the case tonight, but there's still 10 other games to look at. So pretty interesting in that regard.
Yeah, it definitely is. And so we'll be getting another run of our projections. I've got to point out that it looks like Giddy is saying g'day. He doesn't look like he's going to play tonight. So that is going to have us reshuffling the deck once again. But yeah, this is kind of a fun one. I like the more relaxed pace tonight just because there's only one game tipping off at 7. So that means probably towards the end of the show, we'll be a little more frantic because we'll have some more news coming out. Some of the shoot-arounds will be going on. We won't have starting lineups. We'll have the 6:30 injury report will be our last one, but you'll see some of those 8 o'clock games. We'll start getting the beat writers posting some things or getting some coaches' quotes out there. So that'll make things move along nicely. Let's see. You know what would also be nice? Everybody hitting the like button. We would appreciate
Here's a question for you.
Yes.
If Giannis is out, what does that do for you? Because I really think he might not play here. Game's not till 8, and it's after that Atlanta-Memphis game. And they'd be missing Dame and Giannis.
So, good questions. So let's talk about DeLon Wright in a Remember Me game against one of the 6 teams he played for. He didn't play, or he got in at the very end of the first half, or he didn't play until I think he got in at the very end of the first half. And then I want to say he started the second half last night because the rest of, let's look at Popcorn Machine here. If you guys haven't figured out Popcorn Machine, yeah, I'm going to drop that link in there. It's a free site. It does the game flow box scores. Very helpful when you're trying to look at things and check out rotations, etc. here. So, but it's more helpful if you pick the right team. So let's go back here to Milwaukee. So DeLon Wright did not play in the first half. He started the second half. So we got to see Andre Jackson Jr. and AJ Green just play like ass. So he replaced AJ Green in the second half. He played the vast majority of the third quarter. He played 9 minutes, 52 seconds. Didn't do a lot, but he ended up with a block and a steal. And I think he had a couple points here. If he gets in the starting lineup, which we'd rather see, and he gets his minutes up into the 26, 27 range, that guy is blocks and steals waiting to happen. And he would be the one guy I would be interested in. Maybe Bobby Portis, but Bobby Portis without a lot of facilitators there, that's not very helpful. Remember Me game for Bobby Portis, of course, but he's, what is he, 30, 31 now? He's slowing down and just doesn't do much on defense anymore. That's not going to be an issue tonight, but he's not overly exciting. I don't really get a lot of warm and fuzzy feelings here because we have such a top-heavy team with the Bucks here, Matt, that is there anything exciting that pops up here for you?
I mean, Bobby Portis would be maybe the best play on the entire slate if Giannis is out.
I think we're giving him too much credit. Oh, is Giannis? Oh, wait, now they're telling Giannis is doubtful. So Giannis
unlikely to play.
Yeah, he's not going to play.
So what's the hesitation on Bobby P?
He sucks these days.
No, he doesn't. I know we've seen this fail in the past this year, but he definitely doesn't suck. I mean, he's the guy that's
great last night that would have helped me.
That's fair.
The secret side, he was my center.
he's got more minute volatility than you'd like, even in a spot like this. But man, against Washington, like he's got easy 50 plus upside, 50 plus DK point upside. I'm not saying that he's going to get that every time, but certainly that's within the realm of outcomes. I think he's a must play. I'll be surprised if he doesn't move to like the top of the boom bust tools, all that stuff.
No, that's all fair. Against Orlando, which not exactly a team we would think he would do well against, he had 46 fantasy points. Against the exactly replacement player neutral Brooklyn Nets, he got 40 fantasy points, but then it had been, those were his only 240 fantasy point games. He dropped 50, but that was back at the beginning of November. That was against Cleveland. So we had bookending stats for him there. 18 rebounds in that game. Wow, that would be an awful lot. Twice this season, he has 18 rebounds. That's actually kind of wild. All right, what? Let's look at his salary. God damn it! By the way, loved him 2 years ago when we get Bobby Portis out there. So we already had him projected for 31 fantasy points in 25 minutes. He's 5,300 on DraftKings. That's a very favorable price. He is 68 on FanDuel. When did FanDuel become the sharper, not the sharpest, because Scotty Barnes at 3,500 the other day, not sharp, but FanDuel has him all the way up at 6,800. This is like they anticipated this. Yeah, I know you're looking at this through a DraftKings lens. You have me sold on DraftKings, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, again, he's got more minute volatility than you'd like, but he's way too cheap for this role. I mean, I've played him on slates with Giannis and he's crushed. Clearly, he's, again, got more volatility than other players, but he's just so cheap. And just real quick, because I know you're so heavily invested in this, the Guardians backed up the Naylor trade by signing Carlos Santana. Yay.
Smooth.
Yeah,
I get another year of making that joke. As long as I can keep writing that joke at least half a dozen times during the baseball season, I will be happy. It is for an audience of one.
Hey, I mean, Cleveland legend, so we'll take it.
Yes, former Mariner, former a lot of teams. So
really, though, Cleveland is
his career is going to be longer than Carlos Santana, the musician. Which is
definitely
absurd.
When you think of him, though, like I know he's been on a lot of teams. Philly, he's been on Seattle. You think about, I mean, I certainly think of Cleveland. Don't you?
Cleveland for sure. Yeah,
okay,
number one team. Not even a question.
All right, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he had a season and a half or whatever.
Yeah,
it wasn't very long.
He was like the heir apparent to Victor Martinez.
Yes, that I would agree with. Oh, Victor Martinez back in the FanDuel days just had that catcher eligibility for life.
Yeah, he did. Oh man, he was so bad. I feel like at the end of his career,
he was terrible. But 2,100, Victor Martinez. Yeah. Oh boy, look at the rest of this lineup here.
He was really good for Cleveland, and then he went to Boston. I know he went to Detroit also.
Yes, back close.
So Anthony Black is starting for Jalen Suggs.
All right. So Suggs being out, that to me, that doesn't really move the needle. This is kind of a messy game. And even when everybody's out or not around, which is kind of the status quo, there's usually two key players at any point in time missing from Eric Spoelstra's rotation. The defense isn't as fierce as it used to be, but it's still that good team concept. Orlando does something kind of similar, right? This just is not an exciting game. It's only got just over a 205 point total. So there would be other up and down plays I'd rather have, especially with the 22 team player pool. But if this was a 7-gamer, Matt, we would be looking at that as a play. So not there have been times this year I have played him already, especially over on the secret site. But that would be it. The slate of doom, they're saying. So Cleveland, Philly, Kansas City, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee. Oh, I forgot the Milwaukee stretch. And then
I forgot about Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, 94 games.
Yeah, now I remember it. He's been on way more. He's been on a bunch of teams.
Yeah, funny. Philly was the one I didn't remember. He had a whole season there. That was
Yeah,
like
he signed
half a
big
career
deal there, I
ago.
think. Did he sign a big deal with Philly and then get traded to Seattle, or sign a big deal with Seattle and then get traded to Philly? He signed a big deal with Philly and got traded to Seattle and then got traded back to Cleveland, I think.
Yeah, that 2019, after his year in Philly, he had won the Silver Slugger and had his only All-Star appearance.
I mean, listen, I didn't want him to give up Naylor for peanuts because even though they weren't going to sign him, there's something to be said for just the production that he provides in their lineup going into next year. Now you tell me it's Saccone and Santana for Naylor. I'm fine with it. I still don't love the move, but it is what it is. I mean, Cleveland, the Guardians run their team really cheap. They've got great executives, but they're very, very cheap.
All right. As we I know we're talking baseball. We're going to transition back into basketball, but I gotta sell something. So let's talk football for a minute. Did you guys know that over the weekend, last weekend, we had a sub win $1 million again for the year? So to celebrate that, we are giving you the NFL and Max package for the rest of the season. That's through the Super Bowl. We were giving that for $179, promo code CELEBRATE. So remember, this is where you get week 16, 17, 18, wild card, divisional round, championship round, Super Bowl. So we got 7, weeks of football left. We have, good God, we've got what, 7 of the next 9 days, 7 of the next 11 days have the NFL or something idiotic like that. It's going to be nuts. Next week has Christmas week has 4 days of NFL. At least, plus Christmas Day. This is just crazy. It's a good time to get it. So promo code CELEBRATE, $179 gets you the NFL Max package. You're gonna win something to help continue getting subscriptions and not having to redeposit. And heck, you may even win enough that you could withdraw. That's the end all be all in DFS. Have fun, not have to redeposit and withdraw. There we go. There we go. All right, I was hoping we would get a little update here for our stuff. Let's see if we did. We did not yet, but we will. Let's move over to the front court here. So Victor Wembanyama stands out. We're going to have the money to get him. Karl-Anthony Towns dropped the hammer on his old squad. That was actually interesting. He also had, 30 points and 20 rebounds or something ridiculous like that. He is another decent play going against New Orleans tonight. The Knickerbockers are looking decent. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're looking a little shaky here. And then my favorite is Kevin Durant. We also got Jaylen Johnson, who is bumped up. So I think he moves up into this because he's a kind of a do everything guy. And then we have Jaren Jackson Jr. So again, I said the talent and things I want to talk about are in the front court here, particularly forwards. But I think, and then what Bobby Portis in the mix as well. We already hit on him, but who do you like amongst these chaps here? And where do you put the elder statesman Kevin Durant into this mix?
A lot to like about Durant with no Booker. I don't think I can put him ahead of Jaylen Johnson though, which sounds weird, but with no Trae Young, I mean Jaylen Johnson, he is just phenomenal from a DFS perspective, from a real life perspective. His price is getting up there, but again, no Trae Young. This game should be really competitive. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. You already were seeing him. He played 39 minutes the past 2 games. Last game with no Okongwu. I mean, I like both a lot, but Jaylen Johnson would be my priority personally.
All right. Low ballers, my apologies. I'll try to stay more on an even keel here. I know I have the loud to soft versions here. I try to remember. My wife is sitting in the other room. She can hear all of this. But then I get excited because that's just what I do. And it gets the decibels. It's like, good morning, Vietnam. But we'll get back. We'll get back into a more neutral, never monotone, but definitely neutral in the volume range here. So Kevin Durant was going to be kind of my top guy. I should have just gone with Victor Wembanyama, knowing that there would be NBA shenanigans that would get us the value to get there. But we also have Kevin Durant on that 3-game late slate tonight. So We didn't really hit on Cade Cunningham either. He's up in the 5 figures, so there's kind of a differentiation play if you want to get away from the front court players. He's going to provide you a little bit of differentiation because he is, 10-2 and 10-3, I think, on the sites. He has played 24 games this season, 13 double-doubles, 6, I want to say, triple-doubles. So you got a great floor. You got a good ceiling. He's got 160 fantasy point game under his belt. This is Cade Cunningham. I think he's kind of in that sweet spot where gamers are going to go elsewhere. Kevin Durant looks really good, especially when Booker is out, because Durant averages 1.14 fantasy points per minute when they're together this season. When they are, when it's him on the court and no Booker, he gets up 1.4 fantasy points per minute, which is impressive. Bradley Beal, he's just kind of there. He gets about a fantasy point per minute, regardless of who's on or off the court. He is just definitely the third wheel. I don't think a lot happens for him. He may get a few more shots. He may help a little bit with the secondary ball handling, but remember, they got Tyus Jones, right, who's the primary point guard. So I don't think Beal gets a ton of movement here with Booker being out. But I do really like Kevin Durant across this. It's kind of a two-man show in that game for the featured slate. For the night slate, you can start bringing in, the Bookers. You can look at some of the Detroit front court, Tyus Jones, etc. But let's focus on the larger slate. Keep myself in line with that. What about the tippy top? Is there anything that Wemby can't do?
Is there anything what?
That Wemby can't do?
Oh, no, nothing.
We definitely need to see a quintuple double from him. A quadruple double we've seen. That was Hakeem Olajuwon. A quintuple double?
He's special.
Could happen. Could happen. Gosh, is the stuff updating for you? Why is this not updating for me?
No, it hasn't updated yet.
All right. All right. Well, in that case, we'll just keep talking about some of our other good matchups here. Hit us with a little Jaylen Johnson action, and then I'll talk about Jaren Jackson. Jaylen Johnson, 4th year in the league. He's pushed up his production across the board in every statistical category. Since he's been here, I think he played like 22 or 24 games as a rookie, mostly off the bench. So it's, this is one of those, you're cherry picking here, but he has actually come into his own. We have seen him put up 15 rebound games. We've seen him score 25 fantasy points. He gets the stocks from time to time. What is your excitement for him?
He's just really freaking good, and he's in a good spot in the game that should be competitive with no Trae Young. Again, his price is up, so that's not that's one thing against him for sure. And there's a ton of really good plays on this slate, but you got to spend up somewhere. And again, I slightly prefer him over Kevin Durant. So I think that kind of tells you all you need to know. Schools like him a lot. He projects for over 50 fantasy points. He's always coming in as one of the highest leverage plays on the slate. Today is no different. I mean, he looks phenomenal to me.
All right, chat, just for you guys and gals, I'm playing a DK NFL main slate. I need to play $1,000 worth of NFL contests tomorrow so I can qualify to get this DK promo. So I just put in a bunch of $1 head-to-heads and $2 head-to-heads. You guys feel free to grab those. Team Free Money not been doing that great, but I got to get $1,000 of action in. So we'll start with the head-to-heads. I'm going to be registering for a bunch of stuff tonight, but I was mentally thinking how I was going to use the Sims. Again, promo code CELEBRATE gets you the Sims max package for NFL, $179 for the rest of the year. I was deciding what I was going to do. I got a bunch of tickets for the Millie Maker, so I'm going to use about $20 tickets there. I was going to play in some of the single and 3-max stuff, crafting out my lineups, and then I'm going to play probably put the rest of it in cash games. And then, of course, it's Sunday Night Football. They'll be getting you and I again, and I usually play about $300 or $400 on Sunday Night Football. So I was trying to figure
updated.
out. All right, perfect. How am I going to get to $1,000 in play? It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
No, especially on the roll you've been on.
But we're almost at the end of the year. I want to be profitable and all that stuff. Thankfully, the secret side has treated me well. DK, it's going to be touch and go here if I get a 1099. I'm up about 2,200, but I could easily piss that away going after this stupid rewards thing if I don't cash, just because there's 6 days left in the year, or once it's done, there'll be not a lot of time. It could turn into a tax harvesting situation where I have to use some of my $6,500 worth of crowns. So we've got Victor Wembanyama coming in at 56 fantasy points, Karl Anthony Towns at 53. Let's look at your buddy Bobby Portis. Let's spell his name correctly. 42.3. You sold me. You sold me, Mr. Belman. Definitely like him. Let's look at some point per dollar options here. Scottie Pippen Jr., Bobby Portis from the Milwaukee side. We're going to need to see what happens. Brian Rollins. Yeah. I don't really like that, but he is our third best point per dollar guy on DraftKings right now. Taurean Prince is our fourth. Oof, we're getting into the rough area there. Tristan Da Silva popping up. I still don't think he has the ceiling enough to play him tonight in that first game. So again, I'm eschewing that first game. Desmond Bane, that's a name we didn't get to. He's projecting for almost exactly 40 fantasy points. How are you feeling about Bane? He's got that tweener status with shooting guard and small forward.
Love Bane. I mean, Bane still, even like with Giannis out, looks like one of the best plays on the slate. For me, the 5 best plays, and this is how it is in the boom bust tool as well: Portis, Scottie Pippen, Bogdanovich, Bane, Jaylen Johnson. And then there's some contenders after that, but that's my clear top 5, personally.
Went for the popularity upper to get here, but I think what do you think we get Portis at on DraftKings? Think he hits 40%?
Yeah, somewhere around there. He won't be like crazy, but we're projecting like 18% right now. No chance. He's going to be really highly owned. I mean, I don't really get it because right now we have him projected like for 18% ownership and 18% optimal percentage, but he projects for over 40 fantasy points at 5,300. So
the boom bust
hasn't
pulled in the popularity.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, he looks spectacular to me. I couldn't imagine not playing him here, to be quite honest.
All right, let's get let's see. 1, 2. So everybody in chat, type in your number. Type in where you think Portis is going to be. I don't think we get to 50. I think I like the 40 number. For those playing along at home, he is 5,300 on DraftKings. He is projected for 42 fantasy points. FanDuel, it's a different story, where he is 6,800. He was at 1% basically on FanDuel. I bet he gets up to about 20% on FanDuel, but I don't think he'll get much higher. Oh, we got it. All right, I'm going to say the official number here. Bobby, do you want to revise your number? We have all underbid.
Yeah, what's he like 70%?
I'm sorry, you've all underbid.
70,
higher,
80,
higher.
Wow, 90,
91.
Yeah, wow.
See that running down my face? That is egg.
Yeah, I mean, it's not shocking. Again, he projects for 43 fantasy points and he's 5,300. Kind of tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, he jumped up to 49% on FanDuel. All right, I think we're going to get a calibration. 91 just seems like a lot. I think a more realistic would be about 60%. We shall see.
I don't know. I guess it depends what contest you're talking about.
All right. How many lineups are you making tonight, sir?
1.
Okay. So you're going to have 100% Portis?
I am.
Okay. Just checking, right? For those playing along at home. I will be having probably around 40 or 50. I don't want to. 90 is a big number. I don't want to get that high. Let's see what our super chat says. How many minutes will Middleton play? Will he play over 27? No, he absolutely will not, is my take. Always a good question. But they need him healthy to do anything this season. Remember, they held him out of the NBA Cup basically because That game didn't count, and they really didn't want to get him hurt in that one. So he played 19 minutes last night. We have not seen him play on a back-to-back yet this season. My guess is he'll probably play somewhere between 18 and 20 minutes tonight, if he plays at all. We don't have that starting lineup yet because that game is later. So the notes do say he is going to play. I don't think he hasn't started yet. He's going to be coming off the bench. This is like maintenance mode, right? There's no upside to playing him. They're certainly not going to run him into the ground. I think it's a good question to ask who's going to go, what's happening next. It's not going to be him. They did rather lose tonight's game and have him still around playing 22 to 24 minutes. I don't think he'll get above 24 minutes before the end of this year, meaning after Christmas, early January. I think that's when he'll cross that threshold. I don't think we see him playing much more than 28 minutes, 29 minutes for the rest of the season. I think this is my take, but what is he, like 31 now, if I remember correctly?
He might be older than that.
He is 33. So it's not worth. They need him healthy, right? This is such a top. I mean, look at this team they're putting out on the court right now. This is top heavy, does not do this team justice. It's a two-man show, and they're not playing tonight. So, but no stone unturned. I just think we're capped here. But this is the same team that didn't play DeLon Wright for the whole first half. Their other guys were just garbage last night. But I like the thought. So that's just one where I don't see this. This is like when I would push back on Otto Porter Jr. when we're saying, oh, this is the time he's going to go. It's like, no, he gets hurt if he plays more than 24 minutes. You know who I say that about a lot as well? Larry Nance Jr. Larry Nance Jr. was looking like a decent cheapie tonight until we got all the other stuff that we needed. He is someone that we can still sort of consider tonight, nowhere near the priority, but the difference for him now is he's not playing every day. He's sitting out, stretches of time. Obviously he won't with a Kongwu out, but he's another guy that he's always hurt. I would pencil him for 27, 28 minutes. But it's just one of those guys where he's gonna smash here, or Jonathan Isaac, right, for Orlando, breaks if he plays more than 26 minutes, right? It just, that sort of things happen. So good things you need to know. 15 minutes until lock here.
Yeah.
BD said I didn't know Giannis was doubtful. Yeah, I didn't know he was doubtful for about 90 seconds until it came up. Sorry, my apologies.
What are you gonna do with Ryan Rollins?
I don't want any part of it. Okay, let's rephrase that. What if he's in the starting lineup?
He stands out right now in the boom bust tool.
How many really good play did we give him? So we've given him 16.7 minutes. He's the even $3,000 on DraftKings. We're projecting him for 20 fantasy points. Let's take a peek at him. This is his third season in the league. Quick chat, how many other teams has he played for? I did not know this answer either. Tonight will be his 38th game, and he came into the league in 2022 as a second-round draft pick. I love how they say with the Atlanta Hawks, because they never change whoever owned the official. NBA is just a mess with it. I don't know why they do that. It's so dumb. And then they have to wear the hat of the team they're never going to play for because they don't even have that pick. It's like saying Olden Polynice was traded for, Derek McKee was traded for Scottie Pippen Jr. It's like, no, they already had the pick. The deal was in place. Anyway, Golden State, Washington, and then Milwaukee are the teams he's played for. I get to the career stat. His career highs, 12 in points, 5 in rebounds, 3 in assists, career high 5 steals. Okay. Career high 3 blocks. Okay. But otherwise, yeah. He averaged, let's look at per 36, if that gives us any indication. Per 36 averages about 6 boards, 5 assists, 5 stocks. Okay. Okay. That's not nothing. But
not nothing, no.
3K minimum. Oh, Heat starting lineup. Let's see. Moses Moody out. Heat are starting Tyler Hero, Drew Smith, Duncan Robinson, Nikola Jovic, and Bam Adebayo. Paul George still questionable. Draymond Green probable. We have 14 minutes left here. Let's see what chat is angry
On a lot
now.
of slates, what's it called? Like the Miami guys would be, even in this matchup with no Butler, like at their prices, Tyler Hero is way too cheap at 7.
Could you imagine the 3-game slate, that 3-game slate, or the 3-game slate we're going to have tomorrow with Miami in this situation? Oh, we'd be all excited for them. Tyler Hero's totally revamped his game. He's doing nothing but stuff inside the restricted area or from 3-point range. I forget who wrote, I think it must have been The Ringer, wrote a nice breakdown of how he's gotten rid of those mid-range twos and has become incredibly efficient. And you're seeing his numbers go up, even though he's taking 1 or 2 more total shots than he did in prior seasons. And then I think most of those are like extra 3-pointers, and he's improved his shot. It's crazy to see how that happens, which, is why people don't like watching the NBA anymore. So on a game-to-game basis. All right. What else do we have here? 13 minutes to go. We mentioned our promos. Whoa, we get 4 hours of NFL starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow, breaking down everything that you need, DFS and sports wagering and pick'em sites. So that is going to be fun. We have Sunday night football live before lock. A couple really good looking guys are going to be doing that show for you because, we care. We care. The secret side is going to have some serious overlay here in their baller contest. That would be Yahoo. It's the only place you can still become a baller. Just don't wear the shoes. We saw that with Lonzo. Don't wear the shoes. Bad things happen. 11 minutes to go. Who are you afraid of not having enough? Your one lineup. Who's your, I'm going to step off the curb and say, oh shit, I wish I would have had more of that guy.
Still debating right now, but most likely that answer is Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm still going over like a couple last minute decisions though, so I'm not positive yet.
Is Jaylen Johnson in your lineup?
Yes.
All right, let me give you a little. Let me give you a little background. Muzak. This is some Jaren Jackson Jr. So his minutes have gone down since last year, but all is not lost because when the lineup thins out, that's when he gets his opportunities. He only played 19.6 minutes in the last game. That was when the Grizzlies embarrassed the Golden State Warriors. The Grizzlies won by 51 points. WTF? That is kind of crazy. Over the last 19 games, Jackson is averaging 28 minutes. And he's making half of his field goal attempts. That is outstanding. He is also just nailing his 3-pointers. He has a 36% success rate on 5.6 3-pointers. That's key. What don't we like about him? Well, he never gets enough rebounds. His stocks are also down. They can come from game to game. They're down from 2 years ago when he was the defensive player of the year, right? But he can still rally, and he's getting 3.4 combined blocks and steals. It's not Giannis. It is Giannis now. It's not Giannis of old. It's not Wemby of now, but it's still pretty good. So he is someone that should score over 40 fantasy points tonight, can get to 50. That's what we're going to need in tournaments tonight. So. Plus, if you play him and Jaylen, got a little in-game synergy going on.
Most definitely.
Good times. 10 minutes. Way too many people tilting. Why are we tilting? There's only one game locking. Ask your questions. I'm my lineups. I'm not even making lineups till we're after all here. So fire the questions away. Let's see if we got any here in Discord. Who are the must plays for cash on FanDuel? Well, let's go take a peek and give you some FanDuel cash game lineups. I would say I would put in Bogdanovic. I would probably go with Bobby Portis because it is cash. I would probably almost assuredly go with Dyson Daniels. And then let's give one more. I try to get Wemby in there. That would be the way I would like to go. Let's see on the popularity side. Did I miss any names there? Kevin Durant, 40% owned. I'd rather go a little cheaper for cash. I think you'd be better off putting in Desmond Bane. He's at 6,700, and then that gives you the flexibility to keep in, like, maybe bring in a Jaren Jackson Jr. Oh, they do have Wemby with power forward eligibility. That makes it easier.
That's massive.
One guy we haven't mentioned tonight, Cameron Johnson. I think he is potential cash play. He's kind of doing a little bit of everything now, especially and now without Schroeder in the mix. He might get some more offense. His salary's up a little bit, but he's going against Utah. Utah has been, the worst defense in the league this year. So I think that is another possibility. That is on your FanDuel side. If we are looking at your DraftKings side, it's definitely Bobby Portis, definitely Scottie Pippen Jr., almost surely Bogdanovich again, probably Jaylen Johnson. I try to get Wembanyama in there, and then, salt to taste with some of your favorites. You can start looking for an extreme person, play the who is cheap and starting for Milwaukee, be it Rollins, be it DeLon Wright, be it Jackson, was not that great last night. Those would be the guys we would look at. Who do we like for Suns Pistons in showdown? Well, don't fade Cade, as they say. Durant would be the other guy. I like Tyus Jones. And then I would probably look to the Pistons front court and see what excites you. May not be a lot, but those would be the guys that I would kind of lean towards. Am I still full fading the first game? Yeah, I'm not planning on playing it.
Well, I don't think are you waiting on any news at this point though?
No, but I don't have all the stuff up, and
That's fair.
I'm still looking at the secret site and seeing if I'm going to go overboard, because I'm going to be real busy after the show crafting all these damn lineups. And I registered for the 8 o'clock slate because that looked really good on DraftKings. There's also an 8 o'clock slate over there on the secret site. When I say the secret site is not going to fill, they're at 640 out of 980 in their $12 contest, $2,000 to first. So gotta look for the overlay. Always gotta look for the overlay. And yes, the main reason I'm fading that first game is because I'm on the show. If I was listening along, I would make lineups. I would probably not have more than 10% of anybody in that game, but I wouldn't totally wave it off. There's decent value in there, and we have most of the moving parts. We still haven't really gotten that Saturday surprise. Tiny bit for Giannis. I really thought he was going to play tonight, but there's still going to be some foolishness. Somebody's going to sit or not feel well or something tonight. 5 minutes till lock. The secret side is Yahoo. So people asking. Oh, that's right.
That's a secret anymore.
Well, it looks like it is tonight. So you gotta, their $3 contest, 1,000 people in it. It's only got 600. So just, when you just enjoy it while you can, because we're going to be down to 2 sides here pretty quick. It looks like, plus the pick'ems. So we call that out. We call it out. It looks like all their ancillary contests filled up. It's just their flagship ones that aren't. We do have. Yes, we do.
You know who else I like that we didn't talk about at all? I just want to mention him. Zach Edey.
Okay.
He's, again, kind of fallen out of favor on this slate. He doesn't play a ton of minutes, but he's a walking, DFS producer. 4,700 in a game I like a lot. Should have the ball in his hands even more with no Ja. He'll be low owned now. He projects for close to 30 fantasy points.
Sure.
4,700.
He's been back for 2 games. He has played 24 and a third minute and just shy of 24 minutes in that first game that was against the Lakers in Los Angeles. He got 32 fantasy points. Against Golden State, he had 26 fantasy points. Relatively solid. Another differentiation play, right? You're giving up that center spot on DK. You still have the utility. But that I think is a decent play. Rather play him than Rollins, right? That's so. Let's quickly look at Edey. He's 4,700, so they're not even in the same ballpark. My apologies for not knowing that. But that would be the type of play where I feel a little more comfortable, right? Rollins, probably touch and go to get to 20 fantasy points. 50-50, he doesn't make it, even if he's starting.
I'm off Rollins. I can't do it.
Okay. All right.
One lineup, playing a small contest. I don't need it. Like, I think he's a fine play, especially if you're multi-entering in the big tournaments. The Sims like him, but all of a sudden, if he's not starting, which I don't know why we think he is starting, like, he don't look that good. There's just way too many good plays on this slate.
Yeah.
And I think, like, when you think about it, there's no Luka, there's no Giannis, there's Wemby, but would I rather have Rollins and Wemby or Dyson Daniels and Jaren Jackson?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Real quick, they were asking you, did we not mention Pippen? We talked about him at the top.
He's
He's
a lot.
3,600 on DraftKings. Definitely play him there. FanDuel, I think it was like 5,200. Kind of broke him down. He's also in the free article on the DFS building blocks article. Makes him a little tougher to get to on FanDuel. He's still in play in cash. He started 10 of the 11 games that Morant missed. 3 of the games were absolute blowouts, like 20 or 4 of them actually were 20+ point wins for Memphis. 2 of those games, he barely played 20 minutes. He's averaging a fantasy point per minute. That's about what he had last year as well. It's a tale of two sides, but he's definitely in play. In his games, he had 3 over 40, but 1 over 42, and I think it was 45 or 46 fantasy points. Super ceiling just not really there for him because he will go for stretches where he doesn't look for his shot, which, as we saw last year. Remember last year when it was, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? How many games are left on his 2-way deal, right? Before they converted him, when they were all, I forget who they were alternating with. Where was it? Vince Williams? That was
Vince
kind
Williams,
of,
Zaire Williams.
He's out. Gigi Jackson is out, right? They were mucking around with their point guards, but neither here nor there. 2 minutes. 2-minute warning, just like in football. You see. Oh, actually, it's the 1-minute warning. Let's see. DK, the 20 max 4-point play is looks like it's gonna have some overlay in it for those of you still chasing right now. The second mini max is gonna have it's gonna be reduced rake. The $20 and 1, the 4th version of it, there are 1,100 lineups out of the 1,800. So there's going to be a little bit of room in that one. Let's look at the higher dollar contests. The NBA fadeaway is probably going to have a tiny bit of room. That's just $1,000 to first. That's like their 5th iteration of that one today.
Yeah.
The
first one started off pretty small.
Yeah. If you looked on DK, their single entry NFL 50-50s today got up to about 80% full. You just have to pay attention to this stuff. Sometimes it's going to be there. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's going to be on a site you don't like to play, like Yahoo. But there it is. It is kind of the way to go. So the main contests on Yahoo are going off at 80% full. So not only are you not paying rake, there's overlay. So ever elusive. God, that used to just be the way of the world. 14 years ago, long time ago. But we are at lock, which means dinner time. I'm looking forward to it. Nice. We get to, what is it? Green apron, green skillet, green chef, whatever that is. Are you familiar?
Yeah, we
with
used to do that as well. Yeah.
Blue
apron.
Blue apron.
Blue apron I don't like. We called that
Speaking
the
of blue,
dirty every pan in the kitchen. So the green chef, I think that's what it is.
We haven't done one of those in a while. So
Green chef, blue apron,
we
red
get 2 meals, but for 4, so then we have leftovers, right? So we cook 2 of them, and then leftovers for lunch throughout the week for me.
Makes sense.
Which is good because
I know you guys won't be on there, but I'm going to try to keep the playback going as long as I can for anybody, like we usually do on Saturday. So if you're in there, if I see it, every once in a while you have to refresh it or it dies. So I do have a Christmas party, but I'll check in when I can.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to get on out of here, but be back here in 14 hours because we're going to talk NFL for 4 hours, watch a bunch of games, and then you're going to get NFL Live before lock before Sunday Night Football. You guys can follow Matt on Twitter at Fantasy Tips Matt. You can find me at EMac DFS. Hit that like button on the way out, please. With that, gamers, good luck.